Hi, it's the 16th of March and it is, well, Mickey,
It's 6:16.
it, GMT, and welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee, and welcome to today's guest. I'm sorry, should we just start again? Hi, I'm to Geeks on Screens. Hello, Monica. How are you? I'm sorry. I just, well, clearly quite back. I can't speak. When did that happen? A few minutes ago.
No, I got caught off guard by Mickey Mouse. I wasn't expecting Mickey's voice.
Oh, it's coming out. That's me. Sorry. There we go. I don't know if you can hear echoing. There we go. Yeah. I knew I hadn't turned that off. Such an idiot face. No. Welcome to Geeks on Screens with Coffee. Welcome to today's guest. It's, sequel cappuccino. Espresso. Oh, God, so bad. It's almost as if you changed your moniker on Twitter just so you could come on the show. So, welcome. You're going to have to help me out because I did a bit of Googling. You're an MVP.
I am. I'm a 4-year MVP right now.
You run lots of chapters, user groups.
I run the Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads SQL Server user group here in Virginia.
Yep. And you are, what else? You've done a lot of presenting. Actually, I noticed that on your MVP profile. You're really busy. You work for, we'll say DCAC, shall we? I'm not sure.
Denny Cherry and Associates, yes.
Shall we mention Denny Cherry? Oh, okay. It seems a bit egotistical having your name in the title, doesn't it? Shh, don't tell him.
He's Mr. Denny, of course. Of course.
Denny. You're a single mom.
Yep.
And I'll use the mom, the American, rather than mum, the English.
They both sound good.
And have I missed anything?
No, I'm a avid blogger, speaker. Megan, my coworker, actually just asked us last night, each one of us, how many times we've spoken at how many events. And I think I'm up to 148 events right now that I've spoken at over the last few years. So I'm out there speaking all the time. I stay really, really busy blogging and working for Denny. Denny keeps us on our toes and constantly busy. But yeah, so a little bit of everything.
So what are you drinking then, Sequel Cappuccino? What's your
right now it's just water because I've already had my 7 cups of coffee already for today. But normally, by now my coffee's done and I'm still riding the high from all the caffeine. So.
All right, can I just have you got a proper like espresso machine or capsules?
I don't have a proper espresso machine because I don't have enough counter space for it. However, Joey is another coworker of mine, and he's been trying to get me to get an espresso machine that's like probably way out of my price range, but I want to get one. I used to work for, so let me tell you, SQL Espresso came because I worked for a really large coffee manufacturer. And when I interviewed, I didn't drink coffee. And in my interviews, they kept offering me coffee. Do you want some coffee? Do you want some coffee? Can I get you an espresso, a latte, or whatever? And I kept saying no. And they're like, when you're coming to work for a coffee manufacturer, you don't say no to coffee, right? So after a couple years, I learned how to make espresso. Like we had to go through a course and we had to do espresso. We had to know how to do everything in this big giant machine. Well, I started drinking coffee and evidently I thought I was making a double shot of espresso, 2 shot glasses, right? Logically, double shot of espresso. Wrong. Did you know that 2 shot glasses is actually a quad shot of espresso?
No.
So I was having a quad shot of espresso 3 times a day. So everyone who knows me already knows I talk a mile a minute and I'm really fast at everything that I do. And so imagine me on 12 shots of espresso every day. It was crazy. So that's where SQL Espresso came from.
Ouch. Is that so?
Yeah.
Did you have it in the? So the only time I've ever had espresso and liked it was when in Italy, and then you go to sort of a coffee bar and you stand there and you just have it there and then you leave, and it's a very quick drink. It's sort of after lunch. I can't remember what company where I was at. But other than that, I just find it really kind of just overwhelmingly strong. I can't believe.
So I hid it. So I put a bunch of chocolate syrup. And then I put the 2 shot glasses of espresso, and then I topped it off with the foam cream, the heavy cream. And, that was my drink 3 times a day. So, yeah.
Lordy, that's a lot
So
of
it didn't
sugar.
taste like espresso. No.
No, well, it's just, so, I mean, because obviously you're a coffee lady, if you were so you had to train to get whatever the machines are that push it out.
Right. It was a big giant coffee manufacturer, right? We had the roasters there and everything, but we also had a shop inside of the building where we actually had it set up like we would sell this shop to other places and they would just pick up. So it's Segafredo. So have you ever seen a Segafredo shop? So we had one built into the company. So they wanted us all to learn and go through a coffee class, how to actually do the barista stuff and learn how each thing was made and the different types, the latte, the cappuccino, the Americano, all of that. They wanted us to go through a class. And that's where I ended up starting to drink really strong coffee.
Copious amounts of really strong, not just really strong coffee.
Yes.
I mean, I must be on my, I don't know, maybe 7th cup, and it's 6 in the evening, and I'll have a few more cups tonight. But did you ever try and give up coffee?
No, that's not happening. So it's not happening. I don't actually go to the coffee machine for 7 cups anymore. And people joke me, I'm on meetings during the week. I have big, giant coffee mugs. It's like 26 ounces. So each one has about 3.5 cups of coffee in it. So I only have 2 cups of coffee a day, but they're Monica size cups. So yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't do that because I would be running to the loo backwards and forwards all day. It would not be pleasant. It wouldn't be great for anybody. Do you know what? I got distracted. So what we always do at the beginning is we need to sync sound and vision.
Okay, got it.
We got and then this is your name. But why have I got that? There we go. Clearly. So there we go.
Hey, look at that. And you spelled it right. Fantastic.
Well, I've been told off for spelling a few wrong, so I do double check.
Mine gets spelled wrong all the time.
Right, so now we can start. Now I've done that bit. That's sort of the beginning bit, which clearly I should have done earlier. So how's your pandemic been?
Good. Not too bad. We're staying busy. Have been busy since the beginning, which is great. I'm home with 2 teenage daughters who are doing school at the same time I'm working. So that always makes very interesting meetings. Someone's always coming down the stairs making noise or in the kitchen doing stuff. But we've been busy. Been very, very busy.
So I've got 2 daughters, one teenager and one's just under. How do you cope? I mean,
lots of patience. And I have a big house. So if they're up in their rooms, we have our space and can be quiet. But yeah, teenagers in the beginning, when we couldn't do anything was quite the adventure. Lots of moms saying no and them not being happy and lots of adjustments. But yeah, now it's good. Everybody's under their routine and they have a little bit more leeway and we've got it. It was interesting there for a while.
So which bit of the US are you in?
East Coast. So Virginia Beach.
Okay. So what's your lockdown conditions? Have you actually got a lockdown, or are you just staying in and being careful? Or
I'm just staying in, being careful. We've got some limitations that we still have in the dining places and schools are back in school partially, a couple days a week and things like that. But we're starting to lift things, but everybody's being cautious. So still the masks and, we don't go out and do a ton of stuff. And, we don't really go out to restaurants and stuff. We still, just go to the grocery store or the regular store and come back, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So, but I do have one in school now and one that's still home, doing school from home. So we're making progress. That's good.
Yeah. We've got lockdown here. So kind of the schools have just gone back, but our 2 are sort of homeschooled. So they're at home all the time. So it's, they've got their own space. but
Yep.
just the house isn't big enough, and I don't think we have 2 bathrooms, and I don't think it's enough. Not for for 3 women and 1 man in a house. So I'm just thinking we need more bathrooms.
Yes. So there's just 3 of us, and like I said, I have a pretty big house, so we each have our own space, and we're really lucky that we weren't just on top of each other for the last year and a half. That would be not so great. And I'm glad they're older, and they're not, especially with school. They're not young where my focus has to be completely on their school. They just do their own thing. I make sure they're awake. They do their schooling. I double check, hey, she's supposed to be in class, or did you stop to eat lunch or whatever? And then that's about it. So that's good.
So most of the time you're talking to people and you're helping them out with SQL databases.
Performance tuning is my big thing.
And is that on SQL on Windows? I mean, I'm just being specific there. Or does it matter?
On-prem in Azure. I don't do Linux. I got into that a long time ago, and I found my way out of it, which is great. So yeah, it's mostly SQL Server and on-prem or in Azure. So
how did you get
performance tuning?
So how did you get into that?
Oh, so I got really lucky. Networking is key, right? Networking is like everything. I was in college getting my degree, and my sorority sister alumni came and said, the Port of Virginia is hiring a DBA. Come interview. And that was 2 weeks before I graduated college, and I had my first job straight from that interview. And then I was a lone DBA for 12 years for that port by myself, learning SQL Server from scratch with the whole keys of the port in my hand. They were absolutely nuts to do that. But yeah, so I got my first DBA job straight out of college, just from a phone call from an alumni in my sorority. And then everything went from there.
We don't have sororities and that kind of thing in the UK. So how does that work? I mean, this is just me being interested. It's got nothing to do with anything else. It's not that I'm going to join
just
one.
In college, it's just a group that you join. You get an invitation to go in, and it's just it's a social group, and you have to maintain certain grades, and there's some philanthropic stuff that goes along with it. But I ended up being president of it, and it changed my life, career, and everything just from being part of it. And that one phone call from her, and I have my best friends are straight out of my sorority now. So it was a life-changing thing, just like the SQL community, right? You know the right people and get involved with the right thing, and it changes your complete trajectory of your life. And that's what it was.
Yeah. I think the last few jobs have been based upon people recommending or saying, "Oh, have you seen this job? Do you want to apply for that?" Yeah, I think John Martin has a lot to answer for.
Do you work with him or for him at some point?
No. I was working for a company, and John said, "Oh, do you want to come and work with us? It'd be really good." I said, "Well, yeah, things are wrapping up here. Yeah, so yeah, okay." So then I started, but he had actually just left by that point. So he didn't mention that at the time that he was leaving.
He just left the hole for you to go in and take over, huh?
Yeah. I think that it was a SQL job that ended up being an Oracle job, and he didn't want to do it, and I was just interested in the money.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, it doesn't matter. It's a database. It's about the same, isn't it? How different can it be?
I worked on both, and Oracle is an overcomplicated, expensive mess in my book. I am very glad to be done with that. I worked on that with the port for a while, and not my cup of tea.
It does some stuff really well, and I sort of found that working with different databases makes you gives you an understanding of those, but also you appreciate, SQL being the one that I learned first. Yeah. Well, yeah, and the best one and the most important one, apart from obviously Azure Synapse Analytics, or this a dedicated SQL pool, which is clearly the best one now.
Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously. I mean, who wouldn't want an MPP solution?
So you said that John Martin helped you get a job.
Yeah.
Right? It was just, so I love, one of the things about the SQL community and SQL family is that you end up getting jobs that you didn't even know were there, that somebody dropped your name to do. And it's so cool. That's how I ended up working for Denny. And I've seen that happen with so many people in our family that are the SQL family that you don't even know they're looking for a job. And someone says, hey, I've got an opening. And all of a sudden a name comes to mind and you just hit that person up. Hey, I think you'll be perfect for it. All of a sudden they've got a new job and a new career path and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. I like to hear that, John did that for you. And springboard from that. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of nice. And it's also then it's great for him because he had someone to backfill. I mean, that's not why he did it. I'm sure he thought I'd be okay at it. But you don't recommend people you think are going to be bad for a job. So that's quite nice.
Right. That's when you get your best jobs. And that's when the companies get the best people because somebody can already vouch for you and say, hey, this is the person that's going to be for that job. That's really cool. I see that all the time now. And I think that's awesome.
I do like to take the mickey out of him. I mean, I do say that it's, his rise to fame and where he is all my fault because, he spoke I had a user group in Southampton and he came along and he spoke for the first time. And it was really it was all, I did all that for him. I nurtured him through those. No, it's not going anywhere, is it?
No.
Sorry. Maybe if I was a little bit more convincing, that might work.
Just a little bit.
No.
A little bit.
All right. But talking about the data community, I saw, now this wasn't why I got you on, but I saw your name had been mentioned as part of I'm going to say, you're part of the Azure Data Advisory Board.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. So I'm crazy busy in the SQL community. I've always got my hands in everything. Somehow my name gets brought up and somebody pulls me into conversations and then we go on some big old path on community stuff. So with the demise of PASS going under and all of the new things branching out, I was asked to be part of the Microsoft Azure Community Advisory Board to where we're actually advising Microsoft on what the community needs, right? So they're actually, holding their hands out saying, what can we give you to make your guys' jobs easier and help push this community forward? And so myself and several others are able to talk to them and let them know, hey, we needed Meetup. Can we get the free Meetup? What tools are you having available for us? What kind of things can you give us to help springboard and grow our communities and make sure we can still exist? So I'm very happy to be part of that. There's a good group of people from all over the world, big groups, small groups. We represent a big piece of the community as far as the diversity and the type of groups that we have and events that we run. So yeah, I've been pulled into that. Lots of good discussions, lots of really cool stuff coming I can't talk about, but I'm very, very excited.
Oh, you can't. I mean, just between us, right? Just. So yeah, I did see that before that Denny Cherry and Associates was offering WordPress for sites that were hosted on Pass.
So we've done that for years. Some people think it's new, but along the way, somebody asked or had tweeted about not having a place to host their user group. And Denny likes to do a lot for the community. He was like, well, then we have WordPress. We have a ton of licenses. We'll just, put it out there. And if anybody wants to host it, we'll host it for them for free. So we host a few groups before this all started already. And then he just opened it up and reminded everybody as they lost their past websites and stuff that, hey, we have this. Let's go ahead and if you guys want it, just sign up for it and we'll set it up. So it's something that's existed for quite a while, but we've been able to branch out and give some more, user groups some footing out there to let them do it for free and save them some money.
I just hadn't realized.
Yeah, so we have that. And then Microsoft has their piece, and I'm involved with the new Data Saturdays. That's out there. I'm working with a big group of people on that one too, where they've actually got 10 events registered and had their first event already run. So hoping to fill the void of getting those Saturday events out there. So that's in the process too, which is really cool.
So I happened to be looking at some stuff. So the event that I'm helping run, Data Toboggan, is on Data Saturday. The call for speakers is still open. Shh, don't tell anyone. It was supposed to have closed a few hours ago, but I extended it. Shh, don't tell anybody. And the Microsoft thing is for user groups, so regular meetings, and that does that really well. But for the one-off events, there was kind of that sort of slips through that gap. And that's where Data Saturday comes in. And so that's why Data Saturdays is more than just Data Saturdays. It's, any event. Because I think...
Exactly. Any data event that's out there. So it's completely collaborative for all the community to use. And you use that to kind of set up the website and give yourself a web presence. And then you can use Sessionize for your scheduling and your call for speakers or whatever you choose to do. But it's got a GitHub site where you can put in any contributions that you want to add to it. And they're going to do some automation now to help get the setup for your events really quick. There's lots of moving parts out there in the community right now that are helping get the next direction of what's offered to everybody going. So, and I have my hands in a bunch of it, which is really cool. I'm very excited to be part of it all.
I am wondering where you find the time to do the...
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a single mom. I blog, I speak, I run a user group. My daughters are playing volleyball and one's getting ready to go to college, and there's lots of moving parts. But I think if I wasn't as busy as I am, I would be bored. I constantly have to keep going and doing things. And it's especially the SQL community. It's my passion, right? It's what I love. So when it's what you love and you're really interested in, a lot of my friends are part of the community and a lot of my family now part of the community. It just is a natural time saver, right? I mean, a time user, and it's not really work or anything extra. It just kind of is part of your day. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you a serious question now. Mm-hmm. So what is your favorite cheese?
My favorite cheese, brie. Brie. I want some melted brie with some kind of like fruit or cranberries or something melted into it, or some honey or something, and have some bread and dip it into the brie. Oh, yes, I love brie. And I love cooking with brie and side sauces. It thickens it up and it's so good. Love it. What about you?
I'm a vegan, and there is just really rubbish vegan cheese. You might as well just chew on a bit of rubber, really.
So you ask everybody else what their favorite cheese is to live vicarious through them.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, I never got into moldy cheeses or anything that was too stinky. So even brie, I found anything more than like a cheddar or a red Leicester or like a hard cheese, or soft cheese was fine. But if it smelt, I don't know, that would put me off. I don't know what it is.
I take the brine off. I take the white part off and just use the regular. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't like the sticky cheeses either. I'll pass.
All right. So, okay. What's the best MVP gift you've had? So
MVP gift?
Yes.
Hold on.
That's what I like to see. People just walking off because I've insulted them.
So do you see it?
Yeah.
So my friend Ree, I don't know if you know Ree Irish, and I both have these little Lego people that have MVP on it. And anytime we go anywhere to where we're both going to be at the same event, she's my best friend. I'm actually her maid of honor at her wedding in a few weeks. We bring our little MVP people. So we have pictures of them together all over the place with our little MVP people. So this is my favorite MVP gift.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's cute. I love it. Yes, we both have one.
Oh, all right. We'll do that one now. All right. So I ask people what's the best gift they had from a conference.
Oh, best gift they had from a conference. That's a really good question. You mean by the conference person who gave it to it, right? Who put on the conference?
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. So you can make it as wide, or as you can close the question down if it's. I mean,
I don't know. I can't say what's my favorite, conference speaker gift or anything.
I've still got some SQL Sentry mugs. They're quite good.
So I have 39 Idera ducks. So
39
Idera software red ducks.
Yeah.
Rubber duckies. I have 39 of them. I have a whole shelf of them. At one point, I had a good relationship with one of their marketing people, and every time they got a new duck, they mailed it to me. So I think I have ducks that they don't even have internally because they never saved one through the bunch. But I have a whole shelf of all the ducks. So those come home with me every time I go to an event now.
39 different style ducks.
39 Idera ducks. Yeah.
Not just 39 individual ducks, but they're all different designs. So like the Darth Vader duck and the...
Yep.
Are they still...
I've got them all.
Are they still doing them?
I don't know. So the last sequel Saturday I was at was end of February last year was the last one that I got. So, and I think that was in Florida. I can't remember which part of Florida because I do so many of them, but that's the last duck. So they haven't mailed me any ducks this year, since COVID started. So I'm guessing they're kind of holding up production on that. But yeah, I have all those ducks. So I guess you could say those. All
right. Okay. So since I presume you were going to the MVP Summit when it was on.
Yes.
So this is another of the standard questions for MVPs is Busch Gardens, discuss.
So I've been going to Past Summit since 2011. That was my first adventure to Busch Gardens. And then, so from Past Summits to MVP Summits, Busch Gardens is always on the list. Do I get up and sing? Only when somebody drags me up there and makes me sing. But yes, I've had lots of tours of Busch Gardens over the years.
So what is the attraction? I've been there once, but
it's a dive. It's a horrible place, but it's just tradition, right? You're all crammed in this little tiny space and there's not a lot of room, but it's just everybody there having a good time and not caring what anybody else thinks and getting up there singing, and you see all the same faces every year and different newbies come through, and it's tradition.
Is it still a video disc player?
Yes, I think so.
A video disc player. I mean, that was the best bit.
I'm not sure if it's still open or not. So that's a good question. If we go back, I think it might be closed down, but I'm not sure. We'd have to confirm. I don't know for sure.
So what is it with? Is it just people in Seattle, or what is it with the sequel community with karaoke?
So it started out years ago. Kathy Kellenberg and a couple other people, maybe Wendy and Jason, a couple other people, Jason Strait, all wanted to go karaokeing one night, I believe, and they just happened upon this place, and it just stuck. And sequel karaoke was born, I guess, and it's just. The tradition is followed. Now, I might not have that story exactly right, but that's through the history rumor mill, maybe. So, yeah.
It's not exactly the easiest place. It's not straightforward to get to.
You can't walk. It's not in a good part of town. I certainly wouldn't go there myself. You got to go with a group. Yeah. I don't know where they found it. I have no idea.
And I wouldn't go there during the day either to eat because...
And I'm guessing we probably spend more there that holds their budget for the entire year because we pack the place. So, yeah.
I did get to one Past Summit, so a couple of years ago, and it's when Denny had the party with the live band, and then people were doing karaoke. Mm-hmm. That was really good.
Yeah. So every time we'll do every time there was a Past Summit or a big event, Denny puts on a party, and we have sponsors and they help put on the party, and we just get everybody there, and we have a live karaoke band that comes in every year, and we have a open bar for some, and we try to the sponsors help out, and we try to give a good time to all the sequel community that comes. So DCAC really tries to get involved in everything. So
yeah, well, I mean, you know it as Denny Cherry's karaoke evening or party or whatever, and you have to go to it. I mean, it packed out that bar. It was.
Yes, we usually sell out of all of the wristbands and everything. We hit a cap every year. Yeah. So hopefully with whatever comes next, whatever summit happens or next big family event, we can do the same thing.
Do you know, everybody wants to get to, I presume everyone wants to get to, I know certainly we do. We want to get to next physical event. Do you think that will be, well, obviously, with there being no pass, Redgate taking over, do you think that there will be, it'll take a few years for that to then build back up, or do you think that...
So I have no idea. I'm starting to hear talk from user groups about maybe meeting again in the fall. those are smaller events, right? Bigger conferences, I think they're starting to book virtual still, but we never know. I would love to start seeing things in the fall. Once the vaccinations all get through and, you know, people start venturing out more. The first event that happens will be the kicker, right? How did it go? Were they able to get people to speak and who was through the door? And then I think it'll make a big difference. Maybe spring of next year will really kick off. I would love to see something in the fall. I want to travel. I've got so much money in travel e-tickets that need to be used because we travel all the time. DCAC is always traveling everywhere for events and work and stuff. And we have so many points to use and miles to use and credits that are going to go to waste if we can't get out there traveling. So I'm hoping, you know, soon we'll be able to go and somebody will hold a conference. We can go somewhere.
So is the rumor true that the DCAC travel policy is you always go first class?
So everybody always asks about our travel policy. I gotta say, working for Denny is like working for nobody else. He's amazing. He has this policy that says if we're gonna travel, we're gonna travel in style, right? He doesn't want to make travel suck, is his words. So we always are able to go business class, first class on every place that we go. It's written into some of our contracts and stuff like that. If we go to SQL Saturdays, we fly first class. If we go to a conference, we fly first class. And that's, you know, he maintains, we have a very good group of people. We've got 5 MVPs on staff. And we love our job. We love what we're doing. And it all has to do with a lot of Denny's policies and traveling and going to speak and leaving our families to go do these things, whether it's for clients or speaking or whatever we're doing. He makes it worthwhile. So yeah, the rumors are true. We go all over the world first class. It's great. Love it.
I do have a story that is one exception, but I'm not sure that we can tell it if we have enough time, but it certainly wasn't first class for Denny. That's all I can say.
So on my own dime, I've never had first class before. And I didn't think, like, why would these people pay so much for first class, right? Sitting in the back, we're going to the same place. What's the big deal? But after working for Denny, I'm now a flight snob. It's a totally different experience. And for me to travel on my own, man, I've got to, you know, hope that my status on the airline bumps me up because I'll just buy, you know, Delta, you know, the middle Delta thing, comfort, and hope I get that upgrade because of the status of all the flights, because it's totally different after working for him. He's spoiled us. So yeah.
I managed to go once first class. That was out to Australia. That's because it was cheaper to go that than it was to go business class. I don't know. And then I flew business class back and went, oh God, business class, what a slum. I mean, it's that person is waking me up when they have to get out. I can't even lie down properly. What am I doing?
I know.
Come on, set the table up and put the cloth down. This cutlery isn't proper metal.
Yeah, it's totally different. It's totally different. I'm very blessed to be, you know, working for Denny and his policies. But yeah.
Can totally you remember what it was like to go cattle class?
I don't want to. I don't want to. So I've been with Denny now since 2017, and I don't think I could work for anybody else. He's so great. The company is phenomenal, and the people that I work with is totally different than any other environment I've ever worked in. So I'm hoping that doesn't have to change and I don't have to go back to cattle class.
No, and in fact, I can imagine someone trying to employ you and then get, like, you'll get this much money, you get this, and you'll go, when I fly anywhere, well, I go first. And go, no, our policy is that, no, well, I'm not interested. You know, that's a real deal breaker, isn't it? If you're traveling a lot, it's really nice not to have any stress and you just get on and
it makes a difference. I know a lot of people have different travel policies, and sometimes the travel is the most stressful part of their job because of the policies of the company, or they have to foot the bill first and wait for the company to reimburse them, and lots of different things. Denny makes our jobs easy, so totally grateful. Not all right.
Do you mind if we go a little technical? Because I do want to ask you I haven't properly played with SQL. I hadn't installed SQL Server for like a good couple of years. I did the other day. What's still the most common performance? We'll say mistake. We won't be rude. We won't say cock up. We'll say mistake that people make now.
The easiest one that I catch people on all the time is the freaking power plan of the box that it's on.
No, really?
So
still?
We're not talking about Azure, we're talking still. So the VM host or the actual box, they're losing 30% CPU just by not having the high performance power plan. And my mind just goes, what? Oh my gosh. And it's just the simplest non-SQL thing to set up. And when I tell them this stuff, they're like, really? I'm only using 70%. Yes, you're only using 70%. We can prove it just by having that one little thing. I see it all of the time. That and installing services that aren't used on the box. So when you went through the install, tell me, I know you probably didn't do this, but you didn't go next, or check, and installed every service and everything. Don't look at me like that. You didn't do that, right? No, I know you didn't do that. So, but I still see that where they've installed SSRS, SSIS, and the engine all on the same box. And guess what? They're not even using it. They're not even using it. So they're wasting all of those resources, and everything stealing stuff away from the engine happens all the time. And these are basic fundamental things that people just don't even think about or have the knowledge of what the implications are for checking all those little boxes. So yeah, those are two big ones that I see all the time still.
I used to get people to run either, it used to be called the SQL Tiger Team scripts.
Toolbox.
The toolbox. There's a script in there that looks at the best practices. Oh, is it the BP Analyzer? And it's similar to Glenn Berry's scripts that do a very similar job.
Script all the time.
And you go, look, you don't have to be. I mean, obviously the Tiger Team one dumped a load of stuff out. I think Glenn's is a bit nicer. And then if you want to go even further, I know I asked you whether we could, anything that was off, I couldn't mention. But even if you go to Brent's scripts, and his, I'm not sure, is that a bad word?
No, you're fine.
But they're great for beginners because it goes, oh, look, this is the most important thing to look at. And it covers a lot of stuff.
I don't care what scripts anybody's using, as long as they're looking, right? Because there's tons of best practice scripts. We have one out in our GitHub that you can run, and it'll automatically set up the best practice stuff for you. Things like that. Brent has one. The Tiger Team has a great thing as well that you mentioned. But yeah, as long as they're doing something. There's a lot of people that don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. Or
what tools are out there, like the ones you just talked about, to help them along and make sure it's set up correctly. People still aren't doing that. So
you think the auto grow problem has since people have been putting like 27, when did the
19.
fix come in? Was it 2016 or 17? 2016, didn't they change the auto grow settings?
As default for the for your temp DB and everything growing at the same time and at the same rate? Yes.
Was that 16? Yes, I think it was. Yeah. Are you still finding that? I mean, there must be still.
I have a session on mastering TempDB, in which I go through all of the best practices of TempDB and what everybody's still doing wrong and how to do it. And I'm still finding that people don't have that straight. They'll go to work the next day and realize one of their temp files is way out of whack and all the rest of them haven't grown and they have an issue, right? But when they started with 2016 or 2019, I want to say 2016, when you're going through the next, it actually sets up the multiple files for you and kind of guides you through the process. So it's becoming less and less. But yeah, I'm still seeing that too.
And the tick box for the zero, I can't remember what it's called, the zeroing out. Yes, instant file
initialization. Yes, that's a big one too.
It's been
a big one.
It's been such a long time since I've played around with it. Because a lot of time I guess if you've gone for PaaS services in Azure, you don't really worry about that anymore.
Right.
You you're just relying on Microsoft, or if you're using Amazon for them to sort that out, and you don't care. You just worry about a whole different set of problems.
There's different set of problems, and there's still some configuring to do when you go to Azure. You can still mess with the max DOP and the cost and a couple other things to make things go faster and your statistics. There's some things inside Azure that you can still tweak performance wise. But there's a lot less out of the box that you have to go and do like you would have to when you were setting a box up on-prem.
So I know we're going to finish soon, but I'm still interested in this topic. So do you find, because you're dealing with lots of customers, are you finding that there's a more shift into, let's be a bit more generic, cloud-based databases rather than Azure or AWS or Google? Or are you still seeing a lot of on-prem?
We specialize in the cloud, so we do a ton of migrations. So we're seeing a lot of that within our clients, and the sheer availability of having your DR and your HA set up so easily and you being able to scale out so quickly is really moving everybody to the cloud. Just the HADR part in and of itself makes a huge difference. So yeah, we are seeing people go to the cloud. With the outage that just happened yesterday, we see people say, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this, but there was a Azure Active Directory issue yesterday. That caused a little bit of a hiccup for everybody. But going to the cloud, we're seeing more and more. There are some prohibitive types of business that aren't going exactly to the cloud as quickly, but it's now become a thing of an option for so many that it wasn't 5 years ago, right? So we have, I would say, a good majority of our clients have some kind of foot in the cloud already.
Are you finding that some of the migration and sync options are now, because there was nothing, when SQL DB first came out, literally you had to copy every table up. In the very early version, you couldn't restore backups, you couldn't do anything like that.
It's getting much easier. There's lots of different avenues they can go to now. The downtime required to get you to the cloud is minimal. It can just be really quick. Once you get everything set up and it's seated, you can flip right over. So I think the whole scary part of getting to the cloud is moving away from everybody's forethought. So getting them there is a much easier venture now. The mechanics as well as getting the buy-in.
So one of the things that people seem to get stuck on, and this is any migration, is they don't think about the ETL and then the reporting and the downstream systems. They just go, well, we'll shift that up. And then you go, yeah, but your analysis services is still on-prem, or your click view, or your whatever is, you have to drag all that data out.
You have to actually have a plan and a migration and look at your whole environment as a whole before you start to do that. Megan handles all of our Azure Data Factory, our BI stuff, all of the ETL kinds of things. She specializes in all of that. And she has to have all of those conversations. You're not just moving the database over, you're moving all these other pieces. And what different things do you have in the cloud? And what kind of technical debt are you going to have when you go to the cloud, right? Do you have the people that can do it, and or the resources available to learn it, do it, or get a consultant working with you until you're able to hand it all off? So there's lots of pieces, definitely lots of pieces.
All right. So we've just got a couple more questions. So there is one question, which is who would you nominate to be in your seat? So being talked at, interviewed by me in the future. So we'll hold on to that and think about that. And while you're doing that, this is Richard Herring's emergency question book. There are 1,001 emergency questions in here. Richard Herring, you're not going to, but I will ask. Have you heard of Richard Herring?
No.
No, okay. He's a comedian in the UK. And almost I think someone had heard of him once and actually had confused him with someone else. So no one has ever heard of him. So don't feel bad. So if you pick a number between 1 and 1,001, and as long as it's not rude, I will read it out.
707.
Oh, so why 707?
Because I was born 7777, so my lucky number is 7. So everything in my life is run by sevens.
Okay, I was going to think, is it because that's your favorite plane? Okay. The answer is, I can guess what it is. Have you ever punched a lecturer?
No, I haven't punched a lecturer, but I have rolled my eyes or going, why did you just say that? Or, what are you telling them to do? What? Huh? Yeah, that's about it. But no.
Right. So I'm going to twist this slightly. Have you, I presume you go to conferences, or when you
Oh, yeah.
you've sat in the back of other people's sessions, or maybe even the front. Have you ever got up and gone, no, you've got it all wrong? No, that's not how you do it.
So I try to be extremely respectful for other speakers. Everybody has a different take on it. Everybody has a different experience with what they're trying to do. I did one time raise my hand and offered some more information without hijacking their session. I was sitting in a class and I did have one speaker constantly asking my question and asking me questions and asking for affirmation of what he was teaching. And, would ask me to expand on stuff just because I happen to be sitting in the room. But I try to be really respectful for other speakers. And if they say something that I know is completely wrong, then I may have, talk to them later if we're sitting at the after party or something, said, hey, by the way, where'd you get the information for X, Y, and Z? Hey, have you thought about it this way? Maybe you want to take a look at this because Lord knows I could be wrong 1,000,001 different ways or have a different take on things or whatever. And I hope somebody would correct me off to the side to where I can make my presentation better. So I definitely don't want to do that inside their session.
All right.
So.
Thank you for that. Well, thank you for your time. Who would you think should sit in your seat next time? If you can't think of anyone now, we can take it offline.
So I would love for you to get Megan on. Megan's my coworker.
Yeah.
And she will spend the whole hour talking about dogs and Power BI.
We can talk about dogs and Power BI. I can probably do both.
So Megan Longoria, yeah, I would get her on here.
If you can do the intro, that kind of saves a lot of, because then it doesn't look like some weird guy just randomly sending you a message out of the blue saying, will you appear on my podcast? And
Sure, I'll let her know. Thank
you very much. Thank you for your time. It's been wonderful, and it has gone very, very quick.
Yes, it did.
There was so much more we could cover. We'll save that for another time. And it's time to do the showbiz goodbye. So,
all right.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for having me.